While President Trump expressed confidence and optimism over his tariff tactics and U-turn, markets tanked and once again over mixed messages from the White House and the seemingly endless trade war with China.
Yeah, meantime, the Supreme Court decided the Trump administration must facilitate the release of the man from Maryland who was wrongly deported to an El Salvador prison. NBC's Alice Barr reports live from Washington right now. Alice, what are we following here?
Good morning. Yeah, we're following more whiplash on Wall Street and how that is just highlighting the uncertainty in the economy. Uncertainty is dangerous for an economy. What we've seen this morning, fresh information that China is again retaliating with even higher tariffs on U.S. goods in a quickly escalating trade war.
A wild week on Wall Street, winding down with another downturn on Thursday, erasing part of Wednesday's historic recovery as investors eye the growing trade war with China. China this morning announcing even higher 125% retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods. President Trump with his cabinet acknowledging what he calls short-term pain.
There'll always be transition difficulty.
While insisting negotiations are going well with other trading partners who got a 90-day reprieve in punishing tariffs and suggesting China could follow.
I think that we'll end up working out something that's very good for both countries.
No sign of that yet, with the White House clarifying total tariffs on Chinese imports are now 145%, including a previous fentanyl-related penalty. The rift in that critical trade relationship set to drive up prices as small businesses, like this Utah hobby shop and its customers, brace for impact.
I'm a little nervous that I'm not going to get some of the product I ordered or I'm going to have to pay more for stuff.
The instability making market forecasters like J.P. Morgan Chase stick with predictions that the U.S. economy could tip into a recession. While on a separate front, the Supreme Court ordered the Trump administration to reverse course on a Maryland man who was wrongly deported to an El Salvador prison. After days of dispute, the High Court saying the administration must facilitate the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, though the justices did not back all of a lower court's ruling ordering his retrieval, saying the White House deserves deference to conduct foreign affairs.
And back on the economy, some good news with a new report showing inflation cooled in March from the month before, more than expected, though that data comes from before the trade war really started ratcheting up, with economists again expecting prices will be pushed upward once again. Back to you.
Okay, a lot to follow here. Alice, thank you for that report. Now let's talk about the impact closer to home. Candace here has been looking into how the tariffs are affecting Cleveland's own Asiatown community. And Candace, how are business owners feeling?
I'll tell you what, Matt, they're feeling lots of uncertainty, and it makes sense, right, with those ups and downs we've seen with the stock market. 3 News spoke to Ed Hom, and he owns Asia Plaza, which is a retail space for Asian goods. It's a business that's been in his family for 35 years, and he says most of the items that he sells are shipped in from China. Recently, he says he's been stocking away what he can because he doesn't know how long the tariffs on Chinese goods will last.
All the prices are starting to rise, and I've asked them, what should we stock up on now as quickly as possible? What can we defer as much as possible? And of course, they say no matter what, a lot of it's going up because, again, China's the world's manufacturing country.
Now, Hom tells us that he hopes this back and forth between the U.S. and China resolves quickly, but that he says in the short term, he's certainly not getting his hopes up. He tells us that he himself financially, he has been prepared for any sort of bad scenario, so he's confident that he will be able to weather the storm, but he just hopes that the same is true for others who are in this position. Matt?
Okay, Candace Hare, live for us. We appreciate that.